cool.
I like this.
I can still hear us though.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, this is different than the other countdown where we're on the air when we're talking over this one. People can hear us.
I was about to say good producing, Witty. I was about to say I assumed that wasn't buttoned up. So
okay, so we are on the air right now and don't know it. Okay, so I better put some pants on.
I like talking over a countdown.
Right.
Hey.
Okay.
Hello.
We are in a depleted state like many teams at this point in the season. We've got Roy saying he's missed the entire day of football. We've got Mike Ryan saying that he hasn't been able to pay attention to football because he spent the whole day just refreshing Bruce Feldman's Twitter account. We've got no Stugats here for reasons that no one can totally discern. He just made up a flight in the middle of the day. We've got Jessica a little bit winded and breathless because what were you doing just seconds ago? Because those late games ended with a lot of fun. So what were you just doing seconds ago?
She appears frozen.
Freezing her.
Perfect.
Perfect. Terrified.
Perfect.
Must be terrified.
I was about to say, I don't think she's actually moved since the fourth quarter.
I didn't even mention
She's
that
been
Billy,
in exactly this position.
Billy is outside. Billy, why are you outside?
I didn't know I was doing this. I was supposed to be on vacation, but I'm here for you guys.
Yay.
Did you
Where
watch?
are you?
Did you watch football today?
It was on in the background. I'm vaguely aware of things, and I have ESPN open on my phone, so I can fake it.
Are you in the Ozarks? That looks pitch black behind you. Are you?
But I'm well lit, right?
You are.
Yes,
well,
you are.
you're always lit, Billy. But it does look like you are like in the Ozarks somewhere.
I put the screen as bright as possible to use that lighting, and then I have various windows that are just white open so that it's very bright.
Petty play.
Thank you very much. I appreciate.
I also think I'm sick, if you were wondering about that. And every time now that I think I'm sick, I immediately go to get COVID tests. Don't get me started on that. Why is Walgreens having me make a 9:45 a.m. appointment if the pharmacy doesn't open until 10 in the morning? We don't need to get into that. We can get
it's kind of football observations you're going to be getting with this crew here, Dan.
And then when you go at 10, they say you're not in the system, even though I have a confirmation number. We'll get into that later.
Okay. Can't wait for that one.
It was negative.
Well,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is Dan frozen now?
No, I just figured he was going to keep going. I just thought Billy was going to keep us going, drowning more and more. Whittingham, give me that lion stat that you've got. You say you've got a shocking lion stat.
Stunning. A stunning lion stat for you. Now, Roy told me one before the show, which might rival it, and I'll let him tell it since he didn't watch much football today. The stat that I have, courtesy of PFF _bet on Twitter. The Lions, who won for the first time this season, this afternoon, on a last-second throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Detroit Lions this season are 8-4 against the spread.
Good teams cover.
No, great teams cover, good teams win. So it kind of undoes the whole cliche when you don't do a lot of winning. But I guess in the last 4 weeks, they have failed to lose like half their games. So real improvement from Dan Campbell. What was that defense that Mike Zimmer called? I saw that in Tallahassee earlier this season. What was that?
You can't. The defense is that, Jared Goff's not going to do this. The Lions are losers. That's the defense. Like that. It's just sort of keep backing up. The Goff's not going to be able to do this without a mistake. He's going to throw it out of bounds just out of habit. He's going to throw it away.
But why set the defense up to the point that, look, we know one thing about Jared Goff is he can throw a 6-yard slant. Like, he's entirely capable of doing that. Why have everybody behind that?
And they also did it on the plays before that, where it was on the 19-yard line. There were still 12 seconds left, and they put everyone in the end zone that allowed them to throw like an 8-yard completion so that they had the opportunity to make that throw. No idea what the Vikings were doing.
And probably Stugats is going to continue with his Vikings are the best 5-7 team I've seen all season. We've been singing Kirk Cousins' situational awareness and effectiveness. We've been singing those praises throughout this entire season doing these post games, but his entire time in Minnesota, he's actually been kind of bad. But yet again, another example of him doing everything necessary to win a game at the end. is he just like a totally different quarterback now? This is the best version of Kirk Cousins I've ever seen?
No,
even
when you're 2 scores down to the Lions, you can't say this is the best version of Kirk Cousins that we've seen.
fair enough. In fact,
they can't
I
be 2
concede.
scores down.
That's the best.
This
rebuttal.
one, I have all sorts of trouble with this one all the time. For example, I believe that AJ Green kept Andy Dalton a starter for 10 years in the league. Kirk Cousins is a fine quarterback, and their skill position players are awesome. And they'd be awesome without Kirk Cousins. They'd be awesome for a whole lot of quarterbacks in the league. But Jessica, before you froze here, why were you dancing around your place?
Dan. The Ravens. They think they got something. They're still not good enough to beat the Steelers.
Against retiring Ben Roethlisberger.
They
actually
think
kinda
they
cool.
have one great catch. Their tight end makes a great catch last weekend in primetime. They think, oh, we're the Ravens. We're going to steamroll the Steelers and their 55-year-old quarterback. Well, guess what, Dan? The Steelers defense, they sacked Lamar Jackson multiple times. TJ Watt had 3 sacks, a strip sack almost to end the game. Even when the Steelers play crappy prevent defense, the Ravens still can't tie it up at the end. And then they went for 2 because, oh, John Harbaugh, he's so ballsy. Guess what? They lost.
Okay, let's discuss what happened at the end of this game here, because the Steelers, that was totally obnoxious. Your team is needed that victory just to not have its season end on the spot. Mark Andrews had the ball on his hands at the end. But what did you think of the call? I love the idea of Harbaugh being down 2019. First of all, the way the games ended was tremendous. The 49ers, the late games, the 49ers on the goal line, throwing into the end zone, 4th and short, Pete Carroll doing all the rah-rah. I got to imagine that Adrian Peterson is saying to himself on 2nd and 3rd and goal for a 3-and-8 team, what am I doing here? It's cold. I'm at the goal line. Like, why am I doing any of this? And Kevin Harlan is screaming pukey things. And then in the other game, Baltimore is going for it. And I think, I don't know what the math said on this. You guys tell me what you think. But I think that if you tell me I have a situation at the goal line and I need 3 yards, I'll take being down 1, and I will take Lamar Jackson, and I can get 3 yards with some sort of play. I'd rather be the Ravens with the ball than the Steelers trying to defend it.
No, that's not the Pittsburgh Steelers, Dan. The Pittsburgh Steelers
What
are
is this
all
voice?
about defense. Mike Ryan, you wouldn't understand. You're a
Choking on soda
Cleveland
earlier.
Browns fan. I'm a Steelers fan. This is what we do. We beat our divisional rivals.
This is the
except
first time you've
Bengals
been
this
this
year.
is the first time all season you've been a proud Steelers fan. This is the first time
I
you've
hate
let
that
your
voice more than I can
it's
describe.
I like the
so
character.
obnoxious.
I like
This is
it. And
witty. Wow.
and it was
What
actually
character are you talking about? I'm just a Steelers fan.
God.
This is like Paris Hilton
Yeah.
Steelers fan.
You should have that. You
Ooh.
should do that character, but then just have the weird Pittsburgh accent occasionally. Like just do that voice
Yins
and go
don't
Hogue.
understand what it's like to be a Steelers fan. When the defense is on the field, all of the trust in the world is on Yins. You would not understand.
Sound like Meryl Streep.
No, what are you drinking? What are you drinking? Like a Zinfandel? Like what are you doing? What are you
Rosé.
I love
it's
this
awfully
character.
obnoxious
hate
for
it. Oh,
Just
like my
vodka,
skin
Dan.
crawl.
It's just vodka.
Just vodka neat.
what it is unnecessarily obnoxious for 6-5-1 with a
Please, Dan. This is the AFC. Tell me one team that's doing better than the Steelers right now in the AFC. 6-5-1 is basically the same as 14-0.
I will push back on that
what?
notion
No,
a
you
little
know
bit.
why? No, you know why
It'd be
you
12
can't.
and 0.
No, you know why you
14, Woody.
you can't push back on it, because you go ahead and tell me what the hell the difference is between the Bengals and the Chargers. I think the difference between the Bengals and the Chargers is Jamar Chase with a touchdown pass in his hand as a bomb 50-yard catch that he just throws over his shoulder for an interception. I think that's the difference between the Bengals and the Chargers.
I love watching the AFC this year, and I think even as you were taunting my Browns, and it was cool to see an emotional Ben Roethlisberger. I haven't seen him cry on the sideline since he was eliminated by the Cleveland Browns in blowout
Please,
fashion.
Ben Roethlisberger cries on the sideline every weekend in 2021. You just haven't been paying attention.
But it was a cool moment. The AFC is a jumbled mess right now, and I kind of love it. And every time I think it's because they're bad. Number one, then I just glance at the NFC playoff standings and I realize, oh, no, that's bad. And every time, like the AFC West plays the Dallas Cowboys, they smash them. The Cowboys haven't been fully healthy in those, but I actually think the AFC is kind of sneaky good, and they're just all murdering each other at this moment.
Yeah, I mean the playoff line is 7-5, so that's a good standard. And the Chargers, I mean, I think every week we talk about the WTF teams. The Chargers were like multiple personalities today. They were 3 different teams in one. They were the team that went up 24-0. They were the team that blew that lead, and then they were the team that won by 3 scores in the end. That team is completely all over the place. Justin Herbert is completely all over the place.
The Charmed Life of Justin Herbert. Write the book. I'm telling you, it's a weird case study.
Right now, the guy who continues to skate, as Chris Cody said, we have no idea if Trevor Lawrence can play a.
Is Billy getting rope?
Billy is getting rope as Dan is frozen.
It's hard. Are the two related?
Oh, it's an extension
it's an
cord for the
extension
laptop
cord.
charger.
Yeah.
I have something to say about Justin
Not
Herbert. I
lick.
feel like
We don't-
his
It's really
feel
creepy
like-
that he's getting stuck on the word
no.
lick too.
What's Billy?
yeah,
what-
this is I don't like
What's
this.
Billy doing?
He's operating on a delay.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, there he's back. Hey, Dan. Okay, well, we'll take the rope here. You said you had something on Trevor Lawrence there, Jess.
I was just gonna say I think Justin Herbert's time as the NFL sweetheart is come to an end because next year we'll have Kenny Pickett.
Oh.
Oh, and he's got
Now I'm
locks
frozen.
too. No, you're not frozen. We're doing our yeah, you're frozen. All right, so we move on to the late window, Dan, in which I watched because I was too busy FaceTiming with folks in Eugene, Oregon, trying to see if there was a team meeting.
Give us an update. What's going on with the University of Miami?
So actually, my earlier report this morning that didn't necessarily catch as much traction as Mario Cristobal will be the next head coach at the University of Miami was decisions will be made today. I'm not saying announcements will be made today. I maintain that. This is kind of gotten a little screwy, and as a Cuban American, I could say, sometimes shit happens when you involve like a Julio, multiple Ruizes, a Manny, a Mario, a Jose, and all sorts of just
A
Cuban
Fernandez,
shenanigans.
a
Yeah.
Fernandez, a Manny,
Yeah.
a Mario. Armando
look,
is
this
reporting
is-
on it for
this
Outkick.
is-
Yeah.
This is uniquely Miami. I think the drawbacks of Miami's approach on keeping Manny Diaz in Miami reared their ugly head today, but it is everybody's full expectation. Mario Cristobal, I don't know if you've seen the report. I would like to give that reporter credit. I will bring it back to them. Has canceled his recruiting trips for tomorrow. He will be addressing the team. That report is from Aaron Fentress, and I maintain once again Mario Cristobal will be the head coach at the University of Miami. Mario Cristobal just wanted to do this on his own timeline. Look, he is a proven commodity. He is one at Oregon, but in terms of leaving a place where he is really wanted and admired, this is a rookie situation for Mario Cristobal. This is the first time he's kind of dealt with that. I think that's showing a little bit. He wants to desperately control the narrative and shape the message and speak to his team. I understand that part. There's a little Nick Saban influence on Mario Cristobal that's trying to take control of the entire situation. It should have been handled differently. At the same time, you're seeing a lot of understandable support for Manny Diaz as it's an impossible situation. I will say, don't forget the Temple thing. It's kind of poetic that Manny's time is appearing to come to an end kind of the same way that it started. And that's not a justification, by the way. I've gone on the record to say that I think Manny Diaz has been really classy in an impossible situation. But the report stands confirming my earlier report. The decision was made earlier today. Mario Cristobal to the University of Miami is their next head football coach.
But there are plenty of people listening to this that don't know what you're talking about with the Temple situation because they don't care about the Miami Hurricanes quarterback or coach
nor
situation.
Temple. Yeah, nor Temple. But yeah, and unfortunately, there's a lot of similarities to the last search, which was not a national search, just focus on one candidate. The timeline was certainly a lot more drawn out with regards to Mario Cristobal, but Manny Diaz had agreed to become the Temple head coach, did the introductory press conference, and then very shortly thereafter, Mark Richt retired, and Blake James, just without a national search, hired Manny Diaz, who was beginning to start building his program at Temple to be the head coach at the University of Miami. In year 3, Manny Diaz has 7 wins. I know teams played hard for him, and when commentators weigh in on how hard they played for him, they kind of omit the disastrous loss to FSU. I'm not sure what's going on there, but Manny Diaz's time at the University of Miami is obviously coming to an end. Mario Cristobal will be the next head coach of the University of Miami, barring something totally unforeseen, and all the indicators that have happened since my report prove, including the big one, canceling the recruiting trips and meeting with the team, and Mario Cristobal will be the head coach at Miami.
Roy, why did you miss all the football today?
Well, then I had to go out and rent a U-Haul so I can pick up a pellet smoker over at Angel Resto's house. So that involved me driving all the way up to Parkland, which is just about a 40-minute drive and back. And then I had a little situation with the U-Haul because I ordered a pickup truck and the truck wasn't there. So I had to get a van. All this took about 5 hours.
What a motley crew Dan has surrounded himself with.
I mean, like the amount of incompetence. I need to stop here. I need to stop right now. We're 15 minutes in. And I need to absorb. It's not bad enough that I got a spotty internet connection. This is flabbergasting. 15 minutes into this, as I look around and I'm like, good God, the amount of incompetence on this particular call is breathtaking. Here comes the Steelers fan again.
Dan, please. I have no idea what you're talking about. The Steelers got the job done today. They beat the Ravens. I think I almost just froze again.
You mentioned that.
You mentioned that they beat the Red. Okay, so it's kind of a limited impression, but we'll build it out.
The character is so fucking limited. So limited. All you do is you've got a hand move and so
you're limited.
It's a useless character. Well, Dan, I'm bloviating because my quarterback.
I'm working on the character, Dan. I've been very busy watching the Steelers game today. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the Cardinals are better than everybody. And
you can't say that after they beat the Bears.
I could say that because they're 10-2.
But they beat the Bears, and then they turned the bean in Chicago into a dick, and then they tweeted it from their Twitter account. You can't do that. You can't do that and then be like the Cardinals are the best. No, the Cardinals need a heat check on that tweet. Is what they need.
So for those that don't know, as you occasionally see in sports, a social media team at one team had a little shot of banter at one region after they defeated their team, and they turned the famous Chicago bean into an L. But I'm with Jess. It certainly looks like a dick. It's irrefutable.
Hang on a
second.
What?
There are times where you guys live your life as if everyone is on Twitter all the time, and that everyone watching this would know that the Arizona Cardinals turned the Chicago bean into a penis and put it on social media, and just the reaction that Billy had on this video was, I think, reflective of the general public, which is, what in the world is she talking about?
I'm looking it up. I was very confused.
Imagine how they felt when Roy said he was picking something up at Angel Resto's house.
Why is it crooked?
And then I had to get ice cream afterwards, so that even.
You had to get it. Somebody jumped out of some shrubbery and held you at gunpoint and took you to Jackson's. You had to go. You had to go get some ice cream. You had to go not work and not watch football because you had to go get some ice cream.
That's right, Dan.
Rocky Road.
Right. No, it's cherry vanilla.
Mine doesn't look like that.
That looks like a dick.
Yeah, that's very phallic. Yeah.
And there's a cardinal at the very tip of it, so the little red tip on the.
Were you guys happy for Man Campbell?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What, you're not feeling this narrative that the Lions fight hard and he cares so much he took over play calling duties and he's aggressively trying to win games with Jared Goff. Yeah. Look, I went winless one year and so did they. I don't wish that on anybody. Get that win. I was happy for him.
That's fair, but I feel like around like maybe week 10, I decided I was no longer feeling bad for him, and I was like, nah, probably just not a good coach. Probably his fault.
So
Like,
you're blaming his incompetence on them being 0-11-1. Was it the Thanksgiving game? Like, you know why? I think I've diagnosed it. It's because there's no way a team should be able to be unable to beat the Bears, and so you just kind of watched and went, this team, if they're struggling with the Bears and Andy Dalton, I can't be having this.
yeah, it was partly that. I mean, the tie to the Steelers wasn't great. They also what game was it? The Browns game, Mike, that they came down to the wire with against the Browns, and like there was so much end of game mismanagement week after week that eventually I was like, maybe he shouldn't win any games. Maybe he's not very good. Maybe he's the reason they're not winning these games.
They're just
have
not
talent on their team.
You think they have talent? It jumps off the screen to you. They got Goff and like a bunch of wide receivers that I'm constantly surprised are there. They have a good running back.
It's Goff and Hawkinson. Right? That's it. It's
Yeah.
Hawkinson running with his flowing mane on a white stallion through your secondary for 4 catches for 49 yards every Sunday. He's got old Hawkinson is going to be there for you with his flowing mane
and his Iowa-ness.
Yeah. Iowa tight end, like just out of that tight end factory. They got a running back and they've got a tight end and an O-line potentially solved there with Penei Sewell, but they obviously have a long way to go with talent, and Man Campbell deserves the opportunity.
What are you laughing about, Roy? What are you laughing about?
Billy let out a very satisfying after taking a sip of Coca-Cola. That was just fantastic.
Billy, please.
I forgot I wasn't muted. I thought I was muted because I was sneezing before. I did catch myself. I also did a clap after.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever
trust
do
me.
that after you take a sip of something that's delightful? Just to
Billy,
it seems fake.
Billy, because of the constant crickets in my headphone, I've known that you haven't been muted. So trust me, like
I think we can all hear. I think we can all hear the crickets. I think it's been what's been lovely about this, even though it's been an unmitigated disaster, all 21 minutes of it, is it has felt like we're sitting in your backyard with you on a crisp December day, that it's dark and the crickets are all around, because I can hear them. And I got to be honest with you, Billy, as furious as I am with you right now for giving me nothing today, I am delighted by just the holiday spirit of it feels crisp in your backyard right now.
Thank you. I had to run away before. I don't know if you noticed. I had to step away from the computer because what was that?
A little mezcal.
What was
Mezcal.
that?
Nice.
You guys drink fancy things. I don't know half these words. Oh, Steelers fans excited about that.
Oh, picky out.
we have forced Dan to drink on the job, but I kind of saw the mezcal at the very beginning.
Billy, were you going to finish your point or no? Just
I was going nowhere.
Yeah,
I had to
that's
go
okay.
find an extension cord because I was at 3% and I had to go running. It was a whole ordeal. Don't worry.
Check on a fire pit.
We'll get into that after the Walgreens stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys enjoy Sean McVay throwing Odell Beckham Jr. a goal line fade against the Jaguars up by like 30 points in the fourth quarter to get him going? I did.
Oh, no.
Definitely
did,
didn't
right?
watch that game.
A 1 yard pass. It continues to be miserable being Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer. If I told you they'd long for the Gardner Minshew days, if I told you that right now that if Gardner Minshew was Pittsburgh's quarterback, you'd make them a favorite in the AFC.
Potentially.
I would.
Yeah, I would with that defense. And we didn't talk enough about TJ Watt outside of just like his counting stats, but the AFC North has learned how to stop Lamar Jackson. And times like last weekend on Sunday Night Football, his greatness is going to overcome that. And it almost did again. Watch in slow motion that 2-point conversion and see how many things TJ Watt had to do in very short order to disrupt it just enough for that pass to go off the tips of Mark Andrews' fingers. I thought it was a beautiful football play. Andrew Luck, shout out Andrew Luck, salute to you. A beautiful football play in the waning moments that when you slow it down just really encapsulates both the greatness of Lamar Jackson, how difficult it is to defend him, and the greatness of TJ Watt, who I think won the Defensive Player of the Year with that performance.
Whitney, you didn't like the call, right? You didn't like that Harbaugh decided to just say, okay, 3 yards, I've got Lamar Jackson. Let me see if I can get it. And incidentally, before we get to whatever it is you've got to say about this, one of the things I did love is how radiant post-coital Bill Cowher was talking about that game, just how much he loved, like that he wants to inject in all of his retirement Ravens Steelers 20-19 right into his veins.
13-12 in the fourth quarter. That's what Ravens Steelers should be. If Stugatz were on this, he would say that was brilliant football.
High scoring game, honestly.
But you didn't like the call.
No, I mean, look, I agree with your decision kind of in the abstract, or your thought process in the abstract, which is have Lamar Jackson go get 3 yards. But like Mike said, it's also liable to TJ Watt stepping in and ruining it. And that's kind of an amazing football play because so much of playing defense is about just executing your assignment. And Watt very clearly identified, oh, they're going to run that fake thing and I can't fall for it. I got to jump onto Lamar, and that's what puts him off. But the reason why I don't think they should have gone for 2 there is because you have an automatic kicker. By the way, Justin Tucker, fourth quarter and overtime, has made his last 56 kicks. So you know he's making that extra point, and I just back the Ravens offense more than I'd back the Steelers offense to generate something in the overtime period. Like, I'd want to go against Ben Roethlisberger in overtime. I'm not
Whittingham, you were not watching the second half of that game because
Here
the
we
Steelers
go.
defense were not letting the Ravens.
She's
do
out of character. She
anything.
broke character.
Why are you not in character?
What's Meryl Streep?
I forgot what the character was.
Why don't you go to the hallway and get a hoagie?
I wouldn't trust the Ravens offense today against the Steelers defense. Are you kidding? The Steelers almost strip sacked Lamar Jackson to win the game in that drive. The only reason the Ravens made it down the field was because the Steelers are terrible at prevent defense. They're good when they're playing actual defense, but then they were like, let's play prevent defense. We'll prevent them from scoring a touchdown, but give them 30 yards at a time down the entire field till they get to the 5-yard line.
I love the point that Mike's making, though, that a football game, an NFL game where, they're all fighting to get into. In that game, the Ravens and Steelers were vigorously fighting to get into 3rd and 3. Like, let's get, like, we need to fight each other and stab each other with swords so we can get into 3rd and 3. And at the end of the game, it's just one play and it's for 3 yards. And it's not like the days of Dave Craig and Chris Chandler. It's TJ Watt against Lamar Jackson in the middle of the gladiator spectacle, and both of them are like just freakish athletes. Let's see if we can throw it to this Frankenstein Mark Andrews over here, but like they're trying to get 3 yards, and it's 3 athletes that are just crazy talented. And the difference between the Steelers having their season ended at 5-6-1. And the Ravens looking like they're running away with the AFC is just bobbling at 3 yards at the goal line in Pittsburgh. It's crazy that that's where we are this far into the season.
And if you look at the Ravens' upcoming schedule, basically every team that's in the AFC North has a very difficult schedule. That's just how it shook out. But this is a team that's flirted along that line all season long. And more often than not, they've gotten away with it. But the way that schedule is shaping up, you could see a precipitous fall and just like them reverting back to the mean, because while it's a skill when you have that kind of player, I mean, he showed it again against Pittsburgh that inexplicably Lamar Jackson, who the entire time during his career, the knock is when he's a predictable passer, he's not going to win you a game, yet he's winning games with fourth quarter drives when he's a predictable passer. It's got to catch up to them. You can't keep flying that close to the sun and not get burned. And you did in the AFC North.
You guys feel bad for Oklahoma State?
Wait, you guys, hold on a second, Billy. I'm sorry. You guys need to argue with each other. Browns fan, that Browns character and Steelers
Argue
character.
with a Browns fan. I have better things to do, Dan Batard, please.
Is that playing later into January? Because you decided to skip that last year.
Very funny, Mike Ryan. Don't you have some University of Miami coaching news to report?
I actually do. I may need to go.
Billy, I'm sorry.
I got a coach already. What else is there to the story?
Billy, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. What were you saying?
Nah, it doesn't matter. Oklahoma State, did you guys feel bad? Because you felt bad for the Ravens not getting in.
Oh my God. The end of the Oklahoma State game was the goal line. The red zone offense on Oklahoma State was brutal on Saturday. I didn't feel bad though, because I was rooting for them to lose, but they were like 5 inches short of winning.
Still, being within a hair's breath of the
winning
playoff.
the Big 12
You almost
championship.
snuck in to the playoffs.
Yeah, Notre Dame almost did it, Jess.
They did.
What does
yeah.
that character sound like if they had? No, I'm not going to put you on this.
It's the same character, let's be honest. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Bottom of the cup. Wow.
A muffled laughter
a
into
visual
the cup.
joke. A visual
Yeah,
joke.
he tries
Yes,
to
this
block
is.
the
I
logo,
spilled
Roy.
vodka
It is
on my
visual.
mouth.
Yeah.
Well, this is a football postgame. We're not beholden to the NFL. There was a college football playoff rankings. I saw a little bit where ESPN discussed my reports without giving me any credit. But we have Alabama and Cincinnati. That stinks for Cincinnati. And we have a great semifinal between Michigan and Georgia. Double or nothing on Georgia, Alabama in the national title game, guys, please.
It feels like that's inevitable. So I don't get to decide what happens with the bet, but
The point spread's out. I feel like Bama and Georgia would probably both be double-digit favorites if I had to guess.
I'll sell
I don't
points.
think Georgia will be a double-digit favorite against Michigan. You?
I'll sell points. I'll do whatever is necessary to get out of this because I've seen all the mock-ups with me with a bald head, and I'm not a fan. This is going to be very bad for me. And this was always the big problem with this bet. Sugats really operates as a man that has nothing to lose. And you can't go into a bet with that, man. You just can't.
Well, I just love the way that he always wins in that he took the bold stance of believing in Alabama. Like
it was right there. Why didn't I see it?
Alabama. There aren't a lot of teams that can say this throughout history. Maybe Notre Dame back in the 40s, USC for a while, or Miami. But Alabama's best has been better than anyone else's best for damn near 15 years. Like it feels.
Outside of Clemson.
I think Alabama's best. I'm not saying they can't lose, but what never happens? What you just saw to Alabama. That never happens to Alabama. They do that to Georgia, but if Alabama's going to lose, they're going to lose some sort of close game, or maybe every once in a while, some sort of running quarterback will get them. But for 15 years, their best is better than everyone else's best.
And it's so annoying when you, at least in the past, always had the ability to doubt their quarterback. And maybe you could have off of the performance against Auburn.
He was so good.
Unbelievable in that game because Georgia was doing the thing where they were getting pressure, and 5, 6, 7 times he's sidestepping the pressure to hit receivers in the flat. At one point, he became a rugby player and flipped it out behind him, out to the sideline for a big gain. Now, I saw that, is it Mechie, their receiver? They lost him to a torn ACL. He's not going to be able to play in the playoff.
He's so good.
It's massive for them. But, man, Young made so many big plays time after time.
Alabama they're always going to have a good game plan. Like they played up tempo. They caught Georgia off guard a lot. Like Georgia couldn't bring in their subs. Georgia's supposed to have all this depth on defense. If you can't sub them in and out, then like they're going to get gassed, and Alabama just kept them on the field the whole time. And then they have Jamison Williams, who's faster than every single person on the field, he was out for the Auburn game because he got called on targeting while he was on the punt return
on special teams.
Special teams. Yeah. Like ridiculous. I don't know if Alabama, if that outcome's different if he doesn't get out with targeting, but you have to admit he's probably one of their fastest players on their team. And he's not even one of Saban's recruits. I think he transferred from Ohio State, which just makes it even more disgusting that now Nick Saban has the transfer portal at his disposal.
Mike, fair enough. Clemson and also the Orgeron LSU team are the two teams over the last decade that you say, okay, maybe at their best, they can do that to Alabama. But the idea that Alabama's athletes would be a 6.5 point underdog in that game. In retrospect, did we just go through a week where Aaron Rodgers was getting points at home and Alabama was getting points?
Well, look, I found it absolutely stunning that Alabama was able to move the ball the way that they did on what I called entering that game, and what was backed by fact, statistical
Mike,
fact.
They gave up half as many points in that game as they have all season.
It was wild. Bryce Young deservedly won the Heisman with that performance, doing that on that stage for their playoff lives against what was prior to that, the best college football defense ever. And when I made that bet with Stugotz for the loser would have to shave his head, all the Georgia fans got in my mentions saying, what are you doing? And maybe there is something to having to slay the boogeyman. They just can't get past Alabama. Or maybe it's just that Georgia can't get out of its own way, but it's a thing with them. We're not going to believe in them until they do it. I'm going to certainly have a much harder time doing it. Not so much because of that Sigma, but just because of how easily Alabama handled them. That was a stunner.
Roy, I think Stu Gotts is tweeting from your Twitter account right now.
Yes,
At
he
Roy
is.
Bellamy just tweeted, once again, got to give my man Stu Gotts credit. I didn't hear anyone else say the Steelers would beat the Ravens leading up to today's game. He did on God Bless Football. Great show.
That wasn't you.
I was
Then he
just
quote
typing that in the
tweeted
chat.
himself
Yeah.
and
Yes,
said,
he did.
wow, I appreciate all the love today, Bells. He's
Oh.
having a conversation with
Conversation with
himself.
Yeah.
I thought that was Roy.
No, it's not me.
I was stunned. I really thought that after Stugotz didn't take a victory tour on Alabama on Saturday night, that Roy Belly was going to have nothing on it for a week. And fair play, he found the password in time to start talking to himself.
You didn't need to gloat. Our listeners were more than ready for the challenge in my mentions. And again, I would like to formally throw myself at the mercy of our listening audience and this show to give me an avenue out of this, because I am swearing to you on all that is holy, I do not want to do this. I didn't think this was a possibility. I didn't want to concede the points. I got caught up. I'm just a red-blooded American man that got filled with machismo at the wrong time, and I made a very stupid decision. Please, please, please get me out of this bet.
You think the internet can be trusted to be not cruel?
Please.
You think the internet?
Please. I don't want to do it.
You think the internet is going to be like, it's okay, Mike?
I've seen your theories. I do not have a hair transplant procedure scheduled. This is not like in wrestling where they take advantage of the guy with the receding hairlines and make it a hair versus hair match. I've been taking collagen supplements and they have been working. My hair is on a comeback trail. I have subscribed to Keeps. I am doing all the little things I need to do to make sure what I believe is my physical prime can be extended. And the second you take away my hair, all of that is gone for me. Please don't. I beg you. I will do almost anything.
I don't want you to do it either, though. I don't want to sit next to that haircut.
Join the club, Mike.
I've made my case.
It's
I've
time.
made my case. Just please.
You think our audience will be merciful? That's a thing that you
Please.
believe is possible. You believe, like, if we threw this out to a vote to the internet, they'd be, you know what? That seems
Is that
terrible.
this Stugotz? You made the bet with him, not the audience.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the play. I can tug on his heartstrings.
You made
Like,
him
it's
do
hard.
the same haircut before. I don't think it's going to work out.
You think he has a heart?
I have to be honest. I thought to myself over the weekend to throw myself in front of this train and take the baldness for Mike, but I also sought some consult for some friends. And like, no, you've already tested the physics of hair regrowth once. Why are you going to do it
Don't
again?
tell me that. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
No,
right
I'm
now.
saying maybe you can do it once. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think if I did it a second time, it would go as well?
I'm not-
Would the hair grow back?
Don't. You're getting in my own head. Just please. I know it's hard for the internet to speak in one unified voice, so maybe we can pose some options. But please,
None of
dear
you believe.
God.
None of you believe in Michigan. Nobody here believes in Michigan.
No.
I do.
No,
I do.
no.
I do.
I think they're pretty good.
Wait, the state or the football team?
Second best team in the country, some say.
Oh, definitely the football team, not the state. Not the
So they're supposed to run the ball against Georgia? That's
I
how
love,
this is
but
gonna happen?
I do love what happened though. Michigan wins by 40 points. They're number 2, and Alabama just jumps right over them. Just so they win by 40 as the number 2. The number 1 loses, and they don't move.
Jess, I think there's a theory to this. And this is a credit. This is why everyone tells a group of 5, schedule those big power players. Doesn't matter on the road, because they called the bluff of the college football playoff team. If there was any other scenario, if Cincinnati had won on the road at Ole Miss, right, Notre Dame would be in the college football playoff. They absolutely would. So what is a reward for finally opening the forbidden door and letting a non-power 5 team in the playoff? You're getting Alabama. and we're all going to extrapolate
that's the
this data
chant.
and hold it against you.
The chant is "We won Bama." And so a fan base is getting what they want. I'm certain at Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati there was a group of fans chanting "We won Bama," and this is what every college football fan dreams of. Yeah, so what? They get shellacked. You'll have some fun doing it. To talk yourself into it for 3 weeks.
Everyone will just destroy you for the next like 3 years,
Okay, Jess.
maybe longer. Like I've been there as a football fan. Like
Okay,
it's
but
not
you
like you
support
just
Notre
brush
Dame.
it off. It's like embarrassing for a while, and then you
support
own it
Notre
and you say,
Dame.
you
It's-
know what? We covered. The spread
if
was
they win?
17, and we covered it. You can't hurt me anymore. Yes, Billy.
No, what if they win?
Then that's
What if?
the
Great
thing about
story if they
sports.
win.
It's a great thing about sports. And look, this is as dominant as they looked, and as much as they have made me follically challenge here, possibly, this wasn't one of the more impressive Alabama teams we've ever seen. They went
They
down to
almost
the wire
lost to
against
Auburn.
They almost lost to Auburn. They almost lost to Florida.
Texas
Cincinnati.
A&M, Arkansas.
Yeah,
this-
just chronicled it on Fullcast After Dark. They played like 8 good games this year, which is completely uncharacteristic.
Yeah, so Cincinnati can do it. Look, I know it's last year, and that's a totally different circumstance, but Cincinnati should have won that bowl game against Georgia. This is why we watch sports, that Cinderella matchup, that big underdog story. So bring it on. But I do kind of think that this is, if this goes poorly for Cincinnati, as long as the college football playoff structure stays what it is, it's going to be held against the next time a Cincinnati comes on the radar.
Yeah, 100%. But like the way it shook out this year, like you said, is like the next team in lost to Cincinnati, so you couldn't leapfrog them. And Cincinnati ended up being the only undefeated conference champion that, you know, had a good win on the resume against a top 10 team on the road. But I mean, like there's like part of me that's like the like underdog story, like, yeah, like Cincinnati upsetting the Giants, that would be great. I hope they win. It'll be awesome to see a group of 5 team win the championship. And then like the really petty side of me that's like, I hope they lose by 50. That would be so funny. No one will
which one is it? You can't root for both those
Yeah.
things. Like, which one do you
one?
want?
Are you asking if my petty side is winning against my nice side? Please.
Well,
Dad.
let me
feel
talk
like
to
you
the
should
Steeler
know.
fan
What
over
is
there
this
who's
character?
I mean, it's terrible. It's just a terrible character.
I love it.
That only has one move in it. But you, Jessica, took the news, the reported news that Ben Roethlisberger's told teammates he's retiring. This is his last season. How?
No, he's not. He didn't say he's retiring. He said that this is his last season playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And he'll
Keep in
come
mind-
back as a tight end.
There you go.
Keep in mind, he played wide receiver in college. Very
I
famously.
think my favorite thing this season in the entire sport is seeing Ben Roethlisberger try to run.
No.
Who mentioned it on our show that he's always just on his face? Ben Roethlisberger is just perpetually on his face. It's unreal. It's so true.
The Steelers don't need Ben Roethlisberger down. We can make a trade. We can draft someone in the draft. We'll have a top 15 pick potentially.
You know what? I'm so done with.
Oh,
Wow.
what's a bear cat, by the way?
I think
Good
it's
question.
a bear.
No,
It's not a bear.
No,
No.
it's not. I looked it
No,
up.
I think it's
I,
like
I
a,
know the
like
answer.
It's like a Wolverine-ish type.
It has like
thing,
a bear
right?
claw, right?
Is it in the
Yeah.
Bobcat family?
You should ask Ron McGill.
In the Bobcat fan. No.
I think it's closer to a Wolverine.
It's close. It's not a cat.
Are
oh
there
my
real?
God,
Are
this
there?
thing's hideous.
Yeah, it's an ugly mascot.
Oh, ew. The Cincinnati
looks-
logo makes it so much more intimidating.
That's because it's a C. That's why it's a big old C with a.
Is that not a Wolverine? That's not what a
I
Wolverine
don't know
is?
what that thing is. Ooh.
Is that a honey badger?
It's a.
It might be closer to a badger.
It's
you
a
know?
bear
What
cat.
is it? Yeah.
It's native to South and Southeast Asia, which then
So
begs
not
the question:
Ohio.
Why, it's
wh-
Cincinnati.
why is it the mascot of a team in Cincinnati?
Is there maybe one in the Cincinnati Zoo?
There is actually,
Oh.
Well, that makes sense.
but is there only one animal in the Cincinnati Zoo?
I prefer the scenario where like the Cincinnati athletic director in the 1930s like opens
That's what
up
its
an
skeleton looks like.
encyclopedia
Wow.
and goes through every animal in there to try and find the perfect animal to be the Cincinnati football logo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool name. I'm kind of upset you ruined the illusion for me. Thought it was like a bear cat hybrid.
Ooh, happy Hippo Days at the Cincinnati Zoo.
Oh, nice.
Oh, here we go. The Bearcat became the mascot in 1914 in a football game against the Kentucky Wildcats. The key
Crosstown
players
rival.
in the birth of the Bearcat were a star Cincinnati player named Bear, a creative cheerleader, and talented cartoonist. Okay.
Wait,
So
they
they
had a
created
cheerleader
it-
named Bear that
Yeah,
named.
and then he created a chant, and then it said, "There may be wildcats, but we have a bear cat on our side." Ah, so it's like a play on words with someone's last name, and then it just became a bear cat. So
Right.
interesting.
The more you know. Still
Yeah.
going to get tonked by Alabama, I would think.
They do
I
have
think
an
they have a
elephant.
chance.
What if?
That's all you're hoping for. A
Mhm.
chance. And look, I don't know jack shit about college football, as my hair can attest. So, on that note, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Good
They
night,
have an
everyone.
aardvark there. What's an aardwolf? They have one of those.
An odd